Class 11th, Subject Physics, first chapter, Units and Measurements. From the chapter, let us see the measurement of length. Large distances, such as the distance of a planet or a star from the Earth, could not be measured directly with the help of a meter scale. So, a parallax method is used for it. The parallax is defined as the apparent change in position of an object due to the change in the position of the observer. By measuring the parallax angle theta and knowing the distance between eyes E1 and E2, the distance of the object can be determined. That is, from this first figure, the distance of the object P from these positions of eyes E1 and E2 can be calculated. This distance will be calculated as distance of the object, that is OP. That distance will be equal to E1 E2 upon theta. So this distance E1 E2 upon theta, that will give us the measurement of that length, that is the distance of that object from the eyes. As the distances of the planets from the Earth are very large, we cannot use two eyes method as per figure 1. In order to make the simultaneous observations of an astronomical object, we select two distant points on the Earth, and therefore as per this figure 2, we have chosen two positions A and B, and from that the distance of S we have to determine, and for that purpose consider two positions A and B on the Earth's surface separated by a straight line at a distance B. Then two observers of these 2 points observe a distant planet S. So the observers are at two different positions A and B, and the planet which is situated at point S will be observed simultaneously. Then measure the angle ASB. This angle ASB, this angle which is taken as theta, that will be measured, and then by measuring that angle between the directions along which the planet is viewed at these two positions or the points, the angle theta is called as parallax angle. Then as planet is far away, that is the distance of the planet from the Earth is very large as compared with B, that means we can write as B upon D is very less than 1, then theta is also very small, and therefore we consider AB as equal to B. AB will be equal to B, and as AB equal to B and the distances SA and SB, SA and SB will be taken nearly equal to D. Therefore we know the relation angle is equal to arc upon radius. Angle is equal to arc upon radius, and therefore the angle theta will be equal to, so this angle theta will be equal to, arc will be equal to AB, and capital D will be the radius. Therefore theta is equal to AB upon D, that is equal to B by D, and therefore the distance D can be calculated as B upon theta, where theta will be very small. So this method will be used to find the distance of any planet which is far away from us. Then by using this parallax method, we can measure the distance between two stars by measuring the parallax between the farthest points. So this will be regarding the parallax method for the measurement of distances of the planets and stars which are far away from us. Next method is measurement of size of a planet or a star. The measurement of size of the planet or a star. So this figure indicates here, this is the Earth's surface. From this Earth's surface, if any planet is at a distance equal to d, then angle between these two vertically inclined lines is taken as alpha, and therefore from this figure now we can determine the size of that planet or a star. If d is the diameter of the planet, the angle subtended by it is equal to alpha at any single point on the Earth's surface, which is called as angular diameter of the planet. Then, as the distance capital D of the planet is large, we can calculate the diameter of the planet as we can calculate the diameter by using this relation. Again, angle is equal to arc upon radius. So this angle alpha will be equal to arc, that will be this distance d upon this radius capital D, and therefore alpha equal to d by d. From this d, that is size of that planet, will be determined, diameter of the planet will be determined as the product of the alpha and capital D. So for the measurement of very small diameters or the distances like size of the atoms and molecules, we cannot use the apparatus such as vernier caliper or screw gauge. Now for these measurements we can use the electron microscope or tunneling electron microscope. Now next method will be the measurement of mass. Measurement of mass. So measurement of mass. So measurement of mass. For this method, for the measurement of mass, a kilogram is the unit of mass, but a kilogram is the mass of a shiny piece of platinum iridium alloy kept in a special glass case at the International Bureau of Weights and Measures. So kilogram, a kilogram is the unit of mass, and then a kilogram is the mass of an shiny piece of platinum iridium alloy kept in a special glass case at the International Bureau of Weights and Measures. Then an electric current is used to make electromagnets. A electromagnet attracts magnetic materials and hence is used in the cranes to lift heavy pieces of iron or steel. Therefore, the kilogram mass is defined as the amount of current which has to be passed through an electromagnet so that it can pull down one side of an extremely sensitive balance to balance the other side, which holds one standard kilogram mass. So the amount of current which has to be passed through an electromagnet so that it can pull down one side of an extremely sensitive balance to balance the other side, which holds one standard kilogram mass. The mass of atoms and molecules is measured in terms of atomic mass unit, that is AMU. The 1/12th mass of an unexcited atom of carbon-12 is called atomic mass unit. The mass of atoms and molecules is measured in terms of atomic mass unit AMU. The 1/12th mass of an unexcited atom of carbon-12 is called atomic mass unit, and therefore 1 AMU equal to 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. 1 AMU equal to 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. Then let us go for next measurement, that is measurement of time. The SI unit of time is second. SI unit of time is second. A mean solar day is the average time interval from one noon to the next noon. A mean solar day is the average time interval from one noon to the next noon. The average duration of the day is taken as 24 hours. 1 hour is of 60 minutes and each minute is of 60 seconds. Thus, a mean solar day will be equal to 24 hours. That will be equal to 24 into 60 into 60 seconds, which comes to be 86,400 seconds. And therefore 1 second will be defined as 1 upon 86,400 of mean solar day. It is 1 by 86,400 of mean solar day, that is nothing but 1 second. But the length of solar day varies. Gradually due to the gradual showing down of the Earth's rotation. There will be slowing down of the Earth rotation, and that's why the length of solar day varies gradually due to the gradual slowing down of the Earth's rotation. Hence, for measurement of time, a cesium clock is used. For the measurement of time, a cesium clock is used. In this clock, a second is taken as the time needed for 9,192,631,770 vibrations of the radiation or the waves emitted during a transition between two hyperfine states of cesium-133 atom. So in the clock, that is cesium clock, a second is taken as the time needed for 9,192,631,770 vibrations of the radiation or the waves emitted during a transition between two hyperfine states of cesium-133 atom.